record now.
All right, I'll stop talking about chicken dick.
Chicken dick. Wow. It was quite the story.
That is quite the story, right?
I don't know. May have a nightmare about that one. That's scary. Here we are. Here we are.
Here we are. I'm just
And we're
scarring
back.
Naomi. So, hello.
Yeah, thanks, Nurse Alyssa.
You're welcome. If Naomi starts to twitch, it's because I've given her PTSD.
Scarred me. Scarred me with these stories. I'm not ready for it.
They have
All
entire
right.
television shows devoted to it. It's fine.
They do. They do. Look, I'm just a Grey's Anatomy girl. I don't watch the other ones. I've never watched ER.
No,
You
I mean
know.
like they have whole shows devoted to like what just like weird shit people put in their bodies.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna
Yeah.
pass on those. Yeah. Yeah. Oh well.
No, well.
Thank you for sharing that amazing story.
You're
Those
welcome.
amazing stories.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah.
Yeah.
Things you didn't know that could be buried. All right.
Anywho, this is a great
Anywho.
way to start off the podcast.
Yay! We're back! Yay!
We're back. We are back. We are back.
We're back to do what, Alyssa? What are we talking about today?
Well, I'm still thinking about all the things that we were just talking about. So my brain.
I mean,
it,
it was a lot.
yeah, it's a lot. We would share, but I'm fairly certain we'd have to make this explicit.
Yeah. Yeah, we would definitely have to. I mean, there were
This would
visuals and everything. So.
rapidly become mature content.
Yeah.
If you want to know, join the Discord and I'll share.
Oh, yes. Yeah, share it there. Share it there.
It's not suitable for work.
Yeah. Share it there.
Or, like Apple Podcasts.
Right. Exactly. Trying to be able to, leave it on clean.
Ish.
Yeah.
Even with all my F-bombs.
Ish.
Did I say a lot of F-bombs last time we recorded? I don't
No,
think I did. I think
you
I was
didn't.
pretty well behaved. Yeah.
Yeah, you were pretty tamed with the F-bombs.
Yeah, it'll get worse.
Buckle up, folks.
So, yeah. So, what are we talking about again? Oh, so it is Banned Book Week? Is that how we call it? Somebody said celebration at some point, and I was like,
well,
so there's I put it in my stories, and I think I sent it to you. It was a post from Hey Kelly Jensen about Banned Book Week, which starts on September 26th and runs through Saturday the 2nd of October. And
let me interject if I may, and just let people know that we are recording this episode on Monday, September 27th, which is day 2 of Banned Books Week. But this episode will not be published until Monday, October 3rd, which is the day after Banned Book Week ends.
Or is it the 4th? Whatever that Monday is.
Yeah.
Anyway.
The 3rd and the 4th, yeah.
And we can link this post. I put it in my stories mostly so I can keep going back to it and grab it so I don't lose it. But so she went through some of the, and I hope you don't mind me just sharing this right at the top because I kind of want to get it right in the beginning. It says banned book displays and trading cards and other similar things are cool. They really are. But I sure as hell there is more to education about the real everyday challenges and censorship attempts going on locally that get almost no attention at all. A little bit of a typo there, and I can't speak. Thanks to the death of local journalism, many of these stories go completely unnoticed. This is dangerous as it sets a culture of fear for those who select library materials. It's a perfect way for them to participate in soft censorship through not buying items. We get so caught up in the idea of banned books being a thing that doesn't happen or is the same few books or that these books deserve to be read or why they were banned, and it feels so removed from the realities of the acts against the freedom to information. I can tell you how many book challenge stories I broke this year due to a tip or spending hours digging into documents. I can also tell you how many I have not written about or shared because I am one person in one city in one town. You're seeing the York, PA story now because CNN covered it. This year, consider focusing Banned Book Week not on the titles, not on the why. Instead, shift to how radical the First Amendment is and how Libraries protect it rather than the books that people who want to and have pulled because they're personally opposed. Books Week and banned books are not worth celebrating. There is nothing to celebrate here. No, it is not great for authors. Who cares about your sales increasing because of a challenge? The book is being restricted to those who need it. Those most harmed with challenges are indeed the most marginalized, already hurting communities. You can buy the book from Amazon, but the 13-year-old who doesn't have a credit card or a car or parents who are supportive cannot. Consider this year what stories you are hearing. Consider the ones you are hearing. What commonalities do they have? And what can you do in your community to combat challenges to the First Amendment? And I just thought that was a really important thing to remember, that, not everybody, we do these book challenges and we do these things and we have these discussions and they're important, but there's a lot more to it than just this week of going, here are these banned books. Because there are things like the York, PA, where, governments, local and big, are trying to restrict the freedom of information.
Well, hang on a minute, because you just said something that I didn't know was a thing. So when you say banned book challenges, what are you talking about?
I believe that there are several reading banned books, trying to read from. So there's banned and challenged books, books that we've challenged. That's the list that you and I are going to kind of go through today and talk about some of the books that we're familiar with. And then I think that they're also talking about, I think what she's getting at is that there are, people celebrating this week by reading banned books and doing book challenges to celebrate banned books. And it's not something that we should be celebrating. It is something we should be discussing. And yes, we should be, but we should also be working to make sure that people have access to books that are being challenged and banned in different regions and areas, and making sure that these libraries in the areas are able to stock these books and so kids can have access to these books and adults can have access to these books, and that it's not just a celebration. Because we're going to go through where we'll talk about the books, and I felt like we should just start right from the beginning, making it clear that this is more than just a book. There's our right to freedom.
I don't think I was aware of the challenges per se. I guess I hadn't really paid attention to that, but I do not like using the word celebration or celebratory as it relates to banned books. I don't like that, because I guess I feel like when you ban books, you're like silencing a people. And everything about that feels criminal. And so the word celebration or celebrate just feels misplaced to me. So,
and I know that there's a greater conversation happening currently. We're not going to name everybody's names or do any of that because they don't deserve time on our platform, but there is a greater conversation happening in the book community about what is free speech, what does free speech mean, what is all of this stuff. And so it's definitely something that's incredibly important, and banning books is something that governments do to control.
Absolutely. That's what I say. Reading is power. There's a reason why over the centuries, books and, being able to read has been something that, a lot of governments don't want you to be able to do. You can empower yourself through reading words. It's mighty powerful. And also too, when you are able to read and you have access to books that speak about the truth to a lot of powers, now you question things. Now potentially a people begins to rise up. Now you understand that you've been sold some kind of a lie, and they don't want that to happen. So there was great power in reading.
So that's why, I think our discussion today is an important discussion to talk about these books, and this week is important for people to highlight different books, but it's also important to remember how powerful books are, how powerful the First Amendment is, the ability for us to have the discourse that we have and the disagreements that we get to have and
Absolutely.
the dissent that we get to have, like the fact that you can sit on a platform and just like the freedom of speech conversation that's happening between, I would say three specific groups on
Right.
Bookstagram right now. The fact that that can exist is huge. Whatever
Absolutely.
side you fall on, it is huge that you can have that discussion, that
Mm-hmm.
you can openly have dissent between two groups,
For
whichever
sure.
one's in power. And you're not getting sent to Siberia or
Right.
being disappeared or arrested, or because there are many places in this world where that has and continues to happen when
Oh,
you
yes.
use your voice to speak out against whatever the norm is or whatever the power is, whatever the main line is.
Yes.
And these, controlling what books get to be read, especially by young people,
Mm-hmm.
is the easiest way to control information and brainwash, in a way,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
generation. So,
Yeah. So important.
yeah. So
I'm glad you started with that.
I also poured myself the rest of my wine and my so fucking over it
Oh, can I
because
just have that put on everything?
it just
Just
it felt appropriate for this
it's
discussion.
it's so appropriate. It's so appropriate. Stop banning books, god dang it. Just
Hmm.
stop it.
I mean,
Oh boy.
my grandma was a librarian, and I mean, libraries are so important. They are. I think about how much, and you probably saw this as well, like during the panorama. Um, how many things did your library do for the community? Were they a vaccine center? Were they
Exactly.
open and doing things? Were they putting things on their social media? Were they beefing up their digital catalogs so that
Mm-hmm.
people at home had access to things? Were they food banks? Were they, the amount that your library is a huge part of your community, and the
Yeah.
more that you interact with it, the more it becomes part of your community, and it's a beautiful place. So,
Yeah, the library is a huge community resource, and I didn't realize that a lot of people don't understand all the functions of a library. They do more than just provide books.
hmm
So many kids go there after school to do homework on computers because guess what? Everyone doesn't have a computer at home, and
yeah,
everyone doesn't have internet access at home.
yeah,
But the library has free usage of those things, and there are so many kids that go there after school to do their homework on those computers using the library's internet every single
yeah,
school day. There's free tutoring at the
yep,
library. There's various workshops on starting a business, doing your like you name it, the library has. That's why it's so important to keep them fully funded.
yeah.
And I wish that every city, state, town had a library because some places don't have a library at all.
That's
And I
that's
really wish they did. They're so important.
It's exactly what you're thinking about. What you just said. The reason they don't have libraries is because it's an easy thing to cut. So if you have public funding
Yeah.
going and you need it to go to whatever else you think is more important, that's kind of an easy place to cut because you just
Mm-hmm.
think it's just where kids go to get books. They can go to the next town over.
Right.
It's not just that. I know that there are many places like the Danbury, Connecticut Library has like language like learning suites or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and they have a much more diverse community than say like I have here. So it's such a huge resource for people to
Yeah.
learn how to just generally communicate with each other and get a job and better their
Yeah.
lives and do this
Oh
that and the
yes.
other
I mean
things. And
the
like
job
it
training.
seems it seems
The
silly,
oh
but
yeah.
it's that little piece like somebody coming here from another country and learning enough English to get a job as opposed to not learning enough English and struggling to find a job. That could be or break their life, right? And to have
Exactly.
free access to that,
Exactly.
that's amazing. I
The
forgot for a second.
library
People can't
is an
always see me, so me just going
right.
at you
The
is
library is an extension of your community.
Mhm.
They're so needed. And so, please understand, yes, the library does provide books, but they also provide a number of services for children
Mhm.
and adults. And it's
Mhm.
it's critical.
Yeah.
It's critical.
So one, everybody stop for a second, pause, look up your local library, and find a way to interact with your local library.
Get
Support
a
your local
library
library.
card. If you have time to volunteer, volunteer.
If they
All that
have
good stuff.
library sales, go to them. If
Mm-hmm.
they do events, go to them. Do something.
Mm-hmm.
Find a way to interact so that they keep sending money to your library so that it stays
Yes.
funded and it exists. Because
Yes.
it's really it's so important.
It
Um,
is.
but anyway,
All right. So we've got a link to ala.org, and we're looking at the top 100 most banned and challenged books from year 2010 through 2019. Oh boy, the list is oof.
now I don't know all the reasons why all these are banned. I don't even know what all these books are. But I think like number 3 on the list. Sorry, I'm not looking at it right now. I got distracted by the label that's on the bottom of my mug. I'm taking that off because readers and labels. We don't like
We
labels.
don't like them.
Anyway, it was like number 3, like Captain Underpants. Like, why is Captain
Number 2.
Why is Captain Underpants on here?
Yeah.
I think
The,
that
the
I
whole series.
I feel like there was some sort of controversy with the author at some point, but I thought he like apologized for it and did it in like a good way. If I'm wrong about that, someone please correct me. I'm not I'm not the most knowledgeable human on the face of the earth. I know a lot
I
of
don't know.
I know a little about a lot of things, which makes me dangerous.
My grandson never got into Captain Underpants. I was like, "Do you want to try these books?" He was like, "No." I was like, "Oh,
Well,
okay."
yeah, I mean they might not. It's like that's
So I don't know anything about this
yeah.
challenge or whatever, but
It seems so stupid. Anyway,
yeah,
so you want to start? Sorry, we're gonna start with 1. I jumped to 2.
yeah.
Um,
The number 1, The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian by Sherman Alexie. Never heard of that book.
I've seen it on here. It's been on here for a while, and but I don't really know anything about it.
And that, I guess, that's one of the crazy things too, right? So like anybody can challenge a book.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like petition your school and the school board, and now you have an issue. It doesn't have to be some person of major importance. Anyone can challenge a book.
yeah, and
You know?
I mean that's why the whole thing that was happening in York, PA, was so upsetting.
Yeah.
Also, you and I need I need to circle back on that email I got from ACLU about like a district near me, um, where they were like the amount of just disparities between education, like disparities between our the black communities and literally everybody else in
Right.
the area, and that goes into all of this too. Like
Yeah.
if you're going to control the spread of information, so whoever is the dominant person is going to do it so that they can remain dominant. That is a natural human
That's a given.
tendency.
Yep.
So yeah, yeah. But this looks like this absolutely true diary of a part-time Indian is just like a young adult story about a Native American teenager. Okay, like what's your problem? It
You
says it's
know,
about the depiction of alcohol, poverty, bullying, sex, violence,
oh,
profanity,
there it is. Sex. There it is.
and slurs
There it
related to
is.
homosexuality and mental
What?
disabilities. But like, here's the thing:
That's
like
it.
these are all so the things that are here, and this is just my Wikipedia search, so perhaps it's wrong. We're doing this on the fly. So it depicts alcohol, poverty, bullying. I think that generally those things slide. Like people are fine with it. Then you hit violence, sexuality, profanity. For some reason, the Tipper Gores of this world do not like profanity. If
They
you're
do
not
not.
old enough to know that about that, and then or violence. Hello, video
Right.
games. But then homosexuality. I bet you like is a huge part of all of these bannings. I think the amount of banning books that's just related to being queer is
Mm-hmm.
insane to me.
Right. I mean, that really gets people up in arms, doesn't it? They don't want their kids
Because they think it's going to
reading about
teach
queer
them.
people.
Because they think it's going to teach them to be gay.
It's so strange, isn't it? Like this whole thought process that if my child reads a book about a queer person, that's going to turn my child queer.
That's not how
It's so
that works.
ignorant.
It's not how that works.
It's not at all how it works. It's just so unbelievably ignorant. I
You,
just I can't wrap my head around it.
you just showed your ass, and you just showed that you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Like, you clearly
Right.
do not understand how sexuality works. And the fact that probably a significant, I mean significant statistically, not majorityly, it's not a word, portion of the people that are probably coming out against things just because based on homosexuality or
Hmm.
queerness are probably repressing something.
Right. Also, too, I think it's funny how a lot of these people who try to ban or challenge your book, they think that by banning or challenging said book, it's going to keep their child out of the presence of said things that they're trying to ban. And it's like, do you think that if you ban a queer book, that your child is not going to be in direct contact with other queer children? Like, I just try being smart for 1 second. Like, your child is going to be in the presence of queer people and more than likely will be their friend.
Yeah.
So you're trying to ban a book and stop something that's going to happen regardless.
But this is like everywhere where somebody tries to control behavior. Have you seen all the like TikToks and reels and news clips and stuff about, like that show like some man going up to some woman on the beach and yelling at her for wearing a bikini and how there are children here and how it's inappropriate and modesty.
Oh,
And it's the
get
whole
out of here.
inflicting your modesty culture on somebody
Other
else. Like,
people.
you can't go out in public. Like, if you don't want your child to see that and you're so adamant against something like that, maybe you need to not leave your ranch. I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because the
Yeah.
world isn't here to bow, like, kowtow to you. It's not. It's kowtow. Am I allowed to say that? Bow to you. Like,
Yeah.
that's not how this works. Like,
Right. Like, your beliefs
are cool.
are
Like,
your
fine. You,
beliefs. You can honey, you can have them. But you don't need to encroach upon my space and my belief system.
Mhm.
Like, leave me out of it.
That's fine.
Leave other people out of it. Whatever you believe is what you believe, but leave other folks alone.
That's
And I have
fine.
not seen those TikToks, but that sounds crazy.
It's crazy, and it's always like it's always some very angry like white guy or woman screaming at somebody on the beach, and like or like in a park or wherever. It's just like because somehow their behavior that they have no control over is affecting them, even though nobody's interacting with each other. It's like just
It
existing
is
in.
so bizarre.
But it's scary behavior. And it's like,
Well, yes, if you have the audacity to approach a complete stranger and yell at them because they're doing or wearing something that you feel is so offensive to what you believe in, that is cuckoo land crazy.
it is cuckoo land crazy. If I talk to a stranger, it has to be like, either like you need to move and I'm saying excuse me very quietly because I don't,
Right.
because my social anxiety will not allow me to just talk to strangers. But if I'm getting like aggressive, verbally aggressive with a stranger, you have done something that's actually heinous. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
It's crazy.
I don't know. Yeah. So anyway,
So that's
if
that's
you're
how we kick stuff off.
yeah, yeah.
Kick
So
it off.
I don't know. I guess my thought for the day is just because you try to ban a book does not mean you're gonna ban that particular experience,
You
from your
can't.
child because
You
you know
just can't. I wonder how many of
it's
these are
exhausting.
really. I wonder how many of these include a homosexual component. I feel like a lot of them
Well,
do.
okay, so we did number one, number two, number three is 13 Reasons Why. Is
Suicide.
that okay? That's Suicide. That was the one that was adapted to a Netflix show or
Yeah.
whatever.
Are
Okay.
we allowed to say that? Unaliving yourself.
Oh yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Which, by the way,
Um.
that really pisses me off as a medical professional. I find it really, just it is. It is. I don't want to say it's negligent, but it is kind of because you. So one of the most important things with unaliving yourself is actually talking honestly and openly with people and continuing to promote this idea that we can't say the word or like all it does is continue to put shame around something where we need to be able to have frank and open discussions with people. One of the things you get taught when you work in a medical field is that if anybody says anything to you that makes you think that they are going to harm themselves, or that they want to harm themselves, or they have ideations of harming themselves, is for you to point blank ask them, do you want to kill yourself? Have you been contemplating suicide? It is not, we do not pussyfoot around this in
So
any way. The idea is like to confront it head on. And I get why with media it's more nuanced. I get that. But to suppress people's discussions of mental illness because through an algorithm, because of whatever ridiculous sensitivity beliefs you have, it irritates me, because I feel like it does more harm than good to suppress people's language in a blanket way. But these algorithms.
So you're talking about how social media suppresses that kind of a talk. But FYI, again, this is Monday, September 27th. September is Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month.
Yes.
Okay? It's very important to talk about it.
It's incredibly
It's very important to allow other people to talk about it, because it could save someone's life.
Yes. So when people say unaliving and they feel like they have to say it because their TikTok's going to get suppressed, or like some algorithm's going to suppress them, or they're going to get something taken down, that makes me really angry. Because unless you're doing something that is glorifying, perpetuating, blah, 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 blah. If you are giving actual supportive, informative information and having those kinds of discussions, they should not be fluffied up with happy, soft language. They should be talked about factually. And the facts are, people kill themselves. We need to talk about this so that people understand the pain that those people are going through, the pain that the families and friends and people connected to them go through afterwards. This is a huge topic.
Yeah.
That does not need to have things. You can't just make a blanket algorithm thing that suppresses stuff based on a word.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah. And I know we've used that unaliving word on another podcast episode of ours, but I don't think that the full knowledge dawned on me that the algorithm suppresses the word suicide. I don't think that actually dawned on me until this very moment.
It's often the case that the algorithms on various platforms will suppress you if you use the term. Which is very unfortunate, because
I agree.
When you are dealing, it is almost always best to approach things head on with various mental health crises and illnesses. Yes. There are times where you have to sort of navigate in different ways around it, but that's something for like a mental health professional to do, because they are trained in how to be that kind of counselor. But as just regular people out in the world, honestly, if you have a friend or a family member that is doing certain things or saying certain things, sometimes just asking them the question will make them confront it head on.
It's so true.
There's usually something else going on under the surface.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're not going to help somebody, and it sucks. And it sucks.
Yeah.
And there's nothing I can, but you have to try.
Right.
And making up all these like safe words for it, I just feel like
that aren't really safe.
Undermines that.
Yeah, they're safe words that aren't really safe.
It just makes my personal opinion is that it adds shame. Another level of shame. It adds another level of shame to something.
Of course it does, because now you've made it seem like the word suicide is a dirty word. You know, but this is something that many people face. Mm-hmm. Either because they've wanted to do it themselves, or they are related to someone or are a friend of someone that actually did commit suicide. Mm-hmm. You know, yeah. I think America has a really bad habit of renaming things to try to make it seem less scary. But I think in the end, it ends up bringing more harm about the situation itself.
Because we end up hiding something as opposed to actually just talking about it.
Yeah.
And there's a few books on here that deal with suicide. What does Looking for Alaska deal with? I don't even know.
I don't even know what I've never read John Green, so I don't even know what his books are about. But isn't that one of the most popular ones? That Looking for Alaska?
Yeah, it's a pretty. It's grief, hope. I don't know. I don't know why they don't like it.
Number 5, George by Alex Gino. Never heard of that one. I, you know, I don't want to make a blanket statement, but I just feel like if any of these books talked about sex, smoking, drinking, queer life, you know, anything that promotes being proud of being a person of color, I just think that's an automatic like no, we must not have these books.
I mean, the next one on the list, And Tango Makes Three, is a children's book where two male penguins raise a baby penguin.
Oh, God forbid.
God forbid.
This is such a terrible example for our children.
And you know what irritates me about that is like those penguins don't even have to be in a relationship. Those penguins could just be like two dudes that are like, shit, I'm going to raise this kid because this kid don't have no parents. And we're going to do this together. I mean, what was it? 3 Men and a Baby?
Yes.
It's not like we've never dealt with this topic before.
Right. Right.
It's not like an unheard of phenomenon. It doesn't just have to be sexual.
Right.
I hate everybody sometimes. and guess what, folks? Sometimes animals are gay.
There you have it, folks. Don't freak out.
Don't freak out. Sometimes animals are homosexual.
Don't freak out.
I mean, I understand why 50 Shades of Grey is on here.
That's surprising. Who would?
But you know, like half the church ladies that have banned 50 Shades of Grey are also sitting at home reading it.
Have read it. Have read all the books in the series. Okay, can tell you about it page by page.
Yeah,
they have favorite characters.
They were not taking notes. They
exactly.
were not. They were not spicing up their lives with it.
Exactly. So, yeah, that one.
That's The Bluest Eye. Good old Toni Morrison.
I feel like I read somewhere that book has been challenged quite a bit over the years. Quite a bit.
You know, here's my shameful confession. I don't believe I've ever read Toni Morrison.
Not one?
I don't believe so. I'm going to have to fix that.
Well, we're going to fix it for the community, remember? Because in 2022, TBR Lowdown is going to do a Baldwin Butler, year-long read-along where we read the entire works of James Baldwin. And, oh, no, that's wrong.
No, we are going to do it. We're going to do Baldwin Butler, but we can do BMB. Baldwin Butler, Baldwin Morrison Butler.
Right, it wasn't Morrison. That was Octavia Butler and James Baldwin. Well, anyway, we're going to be doing that too. So join us. But we should definitely read more.
Oh, it has
Morrison.
Incest and child molestation in it. Do you know how many books have incest in it? Is that going to get us banned too? Because I said the word incest. Do you know how many books have incest in it?
I mean,
half the books I read for that defunct reading vlog I did with the effed up books were incest books, and I don't like reading about incest. Am I going to ban them? No, but I do not like it.
But guess what? It's a thing that happens. That's real life.
It is a thing that happens, but I do not like it.
Yeah. I have not read The Bluest Eye. I've only read... I read Beloved, which I'm going to read again, and I read Sula. Woo! That knocked me off my feet. Sula was good. But yeah, I would like to read all of her works as well.
Yeah, I realized that, I thought I had read Toni Morrison, but I think I bet you there was probably something I was supposed to have read in high school, and I just didn't because I was being a high school student. Yeah. And that somehow in my brain, it just equated me to having read it. And then I tried to listen to, there was a book that came out maybe late last year, like the Toni Morrison Book Club or something like that, where a bunch of different authors write stories about their relationship to Toni Morrison stories, I guess.
Right.
And I realized that I couldn't listen to that book because I do not know her catalog well enough to listen to that book. And so I do have to fix that because I don't remember who's in that Toni Morrison Book Club thing, but there was a bunch of really good writers that collaborated on that piece. So
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting through her works. I have, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 of her books, because on one of my book thrifting trips,
I was gonna say
I
I had to
walked
thrift
into
them.
Savers and there were like 6 or 7 of her books just right there.
Well, now that I'm doing the book nook, or at least like part one of the book nook, um, fantasy corner is not done yet.
Right.
Not even started. But um, I have like a tower of books that I have to get rid of. So we need to look at our calendars and find a time
Mm-hmm.
for me to come down and we can do a thrifting and we can try
Yes.
to find some of
And
those
maybe you'll look up and find some Morrison,
shameful,
like I
like
did.
my shameful. I haven't read it.
I mean, like you said in one of our other episodes, like you can't read all and know about all the books, you
You
know.
can't.
That's why I look at reading like this is something that you do over your lifetime. And, you know, as you get older, you learn about more authors and more books, and, you know, you'll add them to your collection
Yeah.
and read them eventually. So,
It was
yeah.
so nice pulling out my so far I have out for everybody who doesn't just talk to me all day every day. So far I've pulled out and shelved almost all of my fiction and all of my mystery thriller sort of books and my nonfiction. Those are all like categorized and I've gone through them. My fantasy and romance is all a hodgepodge
Mhm.
at the moment, but um, just seeing my fiction collection, like I don't know, it just made me feel good to like see all the things that I
Yes.
haven't read and all the things I have read and
Yes.
sort of reacquainting myself with myself. Does that make any
Oh,
sense?
it
Like
makes perfect
through
sense.
through my book collection. So like I forgot like just how many Hemingways I have because I love Hemingway and how
Mhm.
much I love Bukowski, even though like freaking Bukowski is like a chauvinistic, misogynistic, drunk, chain smoking
But a
asshole.
fantastic writer?
But I love Bukowski. Like and I especially loved him at the time that I got into him when I was a a jaded, just I don't know, angry teenager,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
so it's fun going through those, and it's fun seeing the
Yeah.
things that I've added to it, and yeah,
I love looking at my home library. It brings me just such an immense amount of joy.
yeah,
I love looking at my books. I really do. I just I can't imagine not looking at them every day.
yeah. Jesus is like, holy shit.
Right. Right.
Why
So,
is Kite running around here? Is it because of the?
so Kite Runner is what? That's number 11, right after The Bluest Eye.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so funny because Hunger Games is number 12. Now, I never got into the Hunger Games. That was way I was already too adult to read that. I just don't even I never had an
I
interest.
loved the Hunger Games, and I was an adult. They were just like fun reads. I have no desire to like have them on my shelves or ever reread them or anything
Yeah.
like that. I thought the movies were pretty banging.
Oh, the
Um,
movies were good. I enjoyed those.
but why are you banning them? Because why are they challenge like
I
uh,
can't imagine why.
uh,
I mean, I honestly can't imagine why.
like is it because they take children and kill them?
Oh, maybe that's it. May the odds be forever in your favor.
All right, but it's a
But it's a
fantasy.
right. It's like it's not real people. It's
Have you ever
a
read a
made up
young adult
story.
fantasy? Like every young adult fantasy is like there's a girl, she's not like other girls. Her parents are either already dead or about to be dead. And
Mm-hmm.
then, a bunch of people like there's so much trauma. I guess what? Can I let you in on a little secret, everybody listening? Trauma is a part of life.
It
It's how we
is.
it's how we deal with it. That's important,
That's
which is
right.
why we need to talk about stuff. It's why we need access to mental health care. It's why we need to unshame mental illness, trauma, PTSD, anxiety, depression, all those things. We need to take
Right.
the freaking shame out of it because everybody has trauma. Big T, little t trauma, it all exists.
Yep. It all exists.
And what you think is trauma, the other person might not experience as trauma. And that does not invalidate the other person's experience.
Speak the truth. Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. Let's see what else was on this list. Did you ever read? So number 14 is The Perks of Being a Wallflower. I never read that.
Love that book. I
A
will
lot of
reread
people
that
love
with
that
you.
book.
That I read when it came out, and it was like I know that a lot of people still relate to it, but for me, like that was like my late teenage years.
Mm-hmm.
That is such like a feeling, and that is a suicide one too. So
Oh, it is. I
yeah.
never knew what that book was about. So this deals with suicide as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people so here's the interesting thing. I feel like regular life undersells how much mental anguish you go through as you're growing up and how little support systems there are oftentimes for people to deal with that slash learn positive coping mechanisms, and you can have a lot of unhealthy mental health things that fall out from that. But books are really good at exploring that, because
Mm-hmm.
I think oftentimes the people writing these things have had these experiences, and it's almost cathartic to work through
Yes.
it. And people relate to it because it's relatable.
That's the whole point, right?
Because growing up is hard. Being like that time from the end of high school to through the end of college, I feel like is one of the most difficult stretches of time in any like young adult life, because you
Yeah.
are expected to make adult decisions, but you do not have like a solidified prefrontal cortex. So
Mm-hmm. That's
you are
right.
not an adult, and you are expected to make adult decisions that are going to affect you for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And when you come out the other end, especially now, our grandparents came out, they had jobs, they had
Right.
things,
Yeah.
and maybe
They
you
had
didn't
a
go to
they had a
college.
basic level of life security.
Yeah, we come out and there's what did I do all this for? Now you're in an existential crisis with
Yeah.
crippling debt and unhealthy coping mechanisms. Like
Exactly.
what are we doing? Right? So yeah, there's a lot of stuff for us to explore here. And
Right.
if we're not going to do it at large in the population, well, at least let us have the fucking books that talk about it.
Right. I mean, it's like, look, maybe there are some people out there, you're fortunate enough where, your family can like cushion you from hard times. But for most of us, we experience like real life,
hmm
and it can be pretty crappy sometimes, definitely difficult.
I mean, even if you think somebody has it nice and that they are cushioned from hard times, there's still stuff happening. Like everybody has,
Yeah.
like, you don't know what happens behind closed doors. You don't know what happens in people's brains. You don't know how their brain chemistry was from the get go. Like, there's so much that
Yeah.
goes into how we are. Sorry, mental health is something I care
Well, I mean,
about.
we should all care about it. And again, unfortunately, I just, America does a terrible job at mental health.
A lot of places do,
Yeah.
but we're just
But
terrible at a lot of things. So
yeah,
we just pile it
but
into the
mental health
wheelbarrow of shit
is
we're bad
one of
at.
them.
Well,
Yeah.
because we have a culture of just pull yourself up by the bootstraps and you'll get there, right? Like that is the American dream. That is the American
Yeah.
way. Suck it up, Buttercup. Let's go. And yes,
Yeah.
there is some aspect where you need to learn when you enter the adult world that there is an aspect of suck it up, Buttercup. But you also need to have positive, healthy coping mechanisms to be able to suck it up, Buttercup,
Yeah.
because you're not sucking it up, Buttercup, for 24/7. You have to do it usually for a period of time, and then those off times you need to be able to like healthfully
Yes.
deal with that.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. Things need to be in place in our society to give us the resources and the access to proper and affordable mental
Affordable is
health
huge.
services, you know? And
Yeah.
that's not always the case. So, we need to get it together. Anyway, what else was
We didn't know this was going to turn into the mental health discussion.
well, it's
But
never a bad time to have the discussion.
never.
Never a
Um,
bad time.
To Kill a Mockingbird is always on there at 15.
That is a book I have never wanted to read.
Oh, I had to read it for school. I've never wanted to reread it. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, did it, good. I mean, I
Yeah.
love Gregory Peck, so I probably watch the movie again just for Gregory Peck. But I could also just watch him in something else.
Right.
So,
Right.
I don't know what this Bone series is, and it's not the Bone series like the TV show. I
Right.
know
Yeah, that's
that
what I thought it
because
was at
that's a
first. Like, I was
different.
like, oh no, that's not it. That's not it. That's
That's
different.
Kathy
Yeah.
Reichs.
Yeah, that's different.
I used to love that series. You would like that series.
I feel like I would too. Oh, I own a Brave New World. I have my dad's copy.
Oh, you jumped.
Oh,
The
I'm sorry.
glass.
Where am I? Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Back up, back up. Sorry, the Glass Castle, number 17.
So the
I
glass.
have that too.
I read that whenever my dad.
Recently.
Yeah, I read that when Turbo died. So the Glass Castle is it is something else. Um, it. I
Oh,
mean,
that's not fiction. Maybe I'll read it next month.
it's a memoir. Like this is this lady's life. Like, what are you?
Yeah.
This is her life. How are you banning it?
Right.
This is her
Right.
freaking life. I'm sorry you don't like her life. Anyway, two boys kissing. I think we know what that's about and
Right.
why it's banned.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
A day in the life of Marlon Bundo
What is that?
by Jill Twist. I don't know.
That's a great last name, by the way. Like,
Yeah, Twist.
for an author.
Twist.
Day in the life of Marlon Bundo.
Sex is a funny word. Self-explanatory. Probably, yeah,
Yeah.
The Alice McKinley series. Never heard of that.
So this is the thing. Like, America doesn't like sex, and it's really weird. I don't understand.
Oh,
why
they
we're
hate
such-
it.
Why are we such prudes? I don't get it.
They hate it.
Oh, it's LGBTQ. The A Day in the Life of Marlon Bundo is about a rabbit that's LGBTQ plus inclusive.
Well, you can't have queer animals. That's unheard of, Alyssa. Unheard of.
Stop with your gay bunnies. It's just so like how evil could this bunny be? I mean, have you seen Monty Python? Is it ripping
Right.
men's throats out? No, I don't think it is. It's just a gay bunny. Leave it alone.
Jeez.
He's got a cheeky little bow tie.
God.
Leave Marlon Bundo alone.
Oh boy. It's perfectly normal. Number
Why
22.
I feel like that's probably gonna have something to do with sexuality.
Probably. 19 Minutes by Jodi Picoult. She's another author I've never read and don't have any interest in reading.
It's perfectly normal. It says this is the subtitle: Changing Bodies, Growing Up, Sex, and Sexual Health.
There you have
it. Because we can't learn about our bodies.
Well, of course not. Cover them up.
Do you know? So you remember? I don't know if I'm sure they did this when you were in school. Did they do this where they split up the boys and girls at a certain time and they explain to you what your bodies do for puberty?
Nope. One class. But remember, I grew up in California.
Oh yeah, I know. So New York's not quite as progressive. So we split up for school, and I wasn't allowed to go. I was the only kid not allowed to go because my mom didn't want school to tell me. Which even in my little kid brain, I was like, what does that do? Like, everyone just came out and told me. So now my peers who are too young to even understand what they're telling me are telling me about puberty.
What do you call that? The telephone method?
Yeah. And it's not like my parents explained it to me.
Yeah. Listen. Okay. So I think this is really, really important, right? So
Yeah.
I have 2 daughters. They are adults. But when they were growing up, we had a very, very open relationship. They could ask me anything because what I knew for sure was if I didn't tell them,
someone's telling
they
them.
were going to learn it from school, and it was more than likely going to be wrong.
Why is there a van in my driveway right now?
It's the killer coming.
Oh, it's my grocery delivery.
Oh. So, although things may
Barking.
seem complicated, difficult, like, be open because you don't want your kids learning about all this important stuff from their peers at school.
No, they shouldn't come out to the swing set and explain to me that sometimes ladies have this thing that happens every month.
Right.
Now I'm terrified.
Right. And my mother was the same way. Like, we had a very open, like, I could ask her anything.
No.
But so I don't think that my grandparents were that open with her, which made her determined to be more open with me.
All right, Hemi, go sit down. Sorry, he's all excited. I forgot it's Monday.
He wants a package too.
I know. I thought it was Monday. He
It
had a,
is.
oh no, I thought it was Sunday. I meant I
Oh,
forgot it was Monday. I don't know what this Jodi Picoult is, but I feel like she's like the kind of author that writes grocery store books and everybody loves her. So what do you
that's what I thought too. But maybe I don't know. 19 minutes. I don't know.
let me look it
Hmm.
up. What's the next one?
Scary Stories, the
Oh,
series.
I love that book.
We can't have horror now. That's bad too.
See, I will tell you that has 19 minutes follows a school shooting. That's why.
Oh,
School
so
shootings,
we don't want to talk about something that happens all the time in the United States of America,
we won't take measures to actually cut down school shootings, but we will ban the books that discuss them.
right? I mean, come on,
Um,
Jesus Christ, people.
um, so scary stories. So there is a story in Scary Stories that to this day it has affected me. And I don't know, did you read all these books when you were a kid?
No.
So there's a story about this woman and she's driving and I think it's a woman. Anyway, this person is driving and the person behind them keeps flashing their brights at them and they're like scared of the person driving behind them. It turns out the person's flashing their lights at them because there's a killer in her back seat and
Oh
they kill
yes.
her. And to this day, every time I get in my car, I check the back seat to make sure no one's going to kill me.
Oh, honey, let me tell you something. Every I always check underneath my car first as I'm approaching my car. I check underneath because remember that story about people slashing your Achilles tendon or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I always check underneath my car, and then as I'm approaching my car, I look in the very back in the trunk area, the back seat. Oh, I don't fool around. I always think there's a killer in my car.
Here's
What,
my
you guys don't? You guys don't know there's a killer in your car or underneath it?
No, you don't have this mental problem. So here's my real question: do men do this?
No.
It's just women. Women are
No.
constantly terrified someone's going to rape or kill them.
Yes, exactly.
Because
Yes.
we are told from a young age someone's going to rape you and kill you.
Yes, but also like again, like that thing about men hiding underneath women's cars and slicing their Achilles. What like that happened? Like,
Yeah.
of course I'm gonna look under my car every single time I approach it.
Here's a novel. Here's a really novel idea which ties in really nicely with number 25 speak. There is a an essay at the like whatever 25th anniversary edition or whatever it is that's written by a man. Uh, sorry, I'll stop hitting my mic. It's written by a man
Mm-hmm.
about so speak is about rape and it's about I don't know, how about instead of teaching women to always have to be vigilant and worried and don't do this and don't do that and check this and do that, how about we teach our sons about consent and not being assholes who rape women and you know, how about we change the behavior of the attacker instead of changing the behavior of the victim.
But this is something that we talk about all the time, right? In the world, right? Women are always like, "Why are you always putting the onus on us?"
Yeah, like
You
we
know, like
literally are
if I
just
wanna
trying to
wear a
walk to our
shirt
car.
skirt, if I want to wear a short skirt, I should be able to do that and not get raped.
Yeah, and I should
You
be
know,
able
so
to
it's
walk
like
to my car without getting killed.
right. It's like you want to put the onus on me in regards to men who cannot control their urges. Like, okay, get off it. We've got to change that whole narrative because that's all it
Mm-hmm.
is. You don't want to take ownership of being unable to control your urges, and so therefore you shift that blame to the women. Oh, this is insane. That's insane. Women are always like the evil one, right? We're like
Yeah,
always the wrongdoers. Either we're doing
we're the
something wrong
temptress.
on our own parts or we're tempting men
Mm-hmm.
to act out of their, normal behavior. It's ridiculous.
Keep your pants on.
Keep your pants on.
Anyway,
Keep your pants on.
That's
Good
it.
grief.
Next T-shirt design. Keep your fucking pants on.
Keep your pants on.
Um,
Okay.
Oh, did I just let a little secret out? Maybe. Ooh, keep going. Brave New World. I don't know if I've actually read Brave New World. We should read that.
I haven't read it, but again, I just have my dad's copy. So,
I'm fairly
yeah.
certain I was supposed to. Beyond Magenta Transgendered Teens. I think that speaks for itself.
Yes, it does.
Why somebody wouldn't be okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
What is the problem with Mice and Men?
I don't know. I thought everybody loved John Steinbeck.
I mean,
News to me.
make-
To me.
it's been a frequent target for censors for vulgarity and what some consider offensive and racist language. All right.
Okay.
But like I feel like every book written
in
is
that time.
it was published in 1937 is going to have racist language in it.
Right. It's
Cuz
and we
guess
talked
what?
about this
Yeah.
in our episode. We talked about classics because we buddy read The East of Eden by John Steinbeck, and we were just talking about how there is some racist language in there. But you've got to look at the
And it's
time in
hard
which
to
it was written.
read. It's
Mm-hmm.
really hard to read, but like it's also important to realize that that was okay at that time and how
Right.
effed up that was.
Yeah.
Um, Handmaid's Tale, well, anything that discusses women is going to be in there.
Right. Yeah.
Reproductive rights of women? What?
Like, what do you mean? Get out of here.
Texas, what?
Yeah.
The Hate You Give, which I still haven't read, and I know you have your own things about.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't want to read that.
I know you don't.
Yeah.
I do have it, and I will read it, but I don't have the same. Obviously, we have different lived experiences, and so we
Yeah,
have different.
I don't have it anymore. I actually traded it in the last time I was at McKay.
But I
But I
understand.
mean, people love it.
I understand the. I understand how you feel about books like that, though. Like, I wouldn't want to constantly. I understand your search for more Black joy in your life.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And I think that that's also important.
Yeah.
So, Fun Home, a family tragic comic. That's probably just violence, right?
Yeah. It's a book by Lane Smith.
We're not. I don't even know what that is. Huckleberry
Okay.
Finn. Huckleberry Finn's
I
probably
think we
because of
can
racist
figure out.
language,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If you don't
Yep.
think that Mark Twain used racist language, like what? The Things They Carried. Why does that sound familiar to me?
It's a title that's similar to many others. The things we lost in the fire, the things we lost in the water, the things that it's you know what I mean?
Yeah. Tim O'Brien. Semi-autobiographical.
Is it
Oh,
clear?
it's gonna be violent. No, it's about like
Okay.
Vietnam War. It's gonna be violent.
Okay. I mean, because what? Vietnam War wasn't violent?
I mean, let's talk honestly about that fucked up thing that we did. Nope, can't do that.
You
What my
know,
mother
like,
doesn't know. What my mother doesn't know just sounds like it could literally be about any teenager's life.
Anything. Right. Anything.
A child
called It.
that's got to be transgendered, right?
Mm-hmm. I feel like it may be.
Let's look it up. You're gonna be so happy that I didn't use my clacky keyboard.
I can still hear
Oh,
it. I'm gonna hear
no.
it.
I know you are, but it's gonna be different. 1995 memoir about A Child Called It is about child abuse.
Oh. Interesting. I wonder what were the reasons around that wanted to be banned or challenged.
Well, there's some accusations that several events were fabricated, but I don't know. It's a memoir.
Interesting. Okay, it's a memoir. Well, that's tricky.
It's a man's a viewpoint of severe abuse he suffered as a child. And then I guess his several family members have.
Oh, see, I knew you were going to go there with that. I'm like, either the parents were like, that didn't happen, or some family aunt or cousin was like, that never happened.
I mean, this is
so we're good people.
I mean, it is disturbing, but I find it interesting how many, like, this is the second memoir that I'm paying attention to where you're like, no. And like, how can you say no to it's a memoir.
Right.
It's this person's life.
Yeah. I mean, I can see how this particular memoir probably I can see how all that probably unfolded. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Maybe it was, the cousin of the parents or, suitors of the parents. And they're like, what do you talk? Like, that never happened. My whoever they are to you are good people. They would never do that to their kids.
Oh, God.
That's just
I hate that
the
statement.
inability to take your personal feelings out of the situation, right?
Yeah. All right. Well, we're already at an hour, so I guess we can't go through all 100. Let's be a
Let's
little
cap
bit.
it off at 50.
Let's just go through the names we know about.
Crank. I know Crank because my daughter, my youngest one, she loves those books by Ellen Hopkins.
What are they about?
Suicide.
Oh, that'll do it.
Kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. Drugs.
Well, number 40, Persepolis, is like fantastic graphic novel about the Iranian Revolution, mouthwork.
Did
And
you recently read that?
I did. We got it
Mm-hmm.
together. We thrifted it. I need to get book 2, but graphic novels are expensive and I would like to thrift it.
Yeah.
I can't believe, and shout out anything in between this, but like, oh, so Beloved's at 45 by Toni Morrison.
Mm.
Um,
Why would that be on there?
it doesn't one of these have like, doesn't she have a book that's queer? Is Beloved the
I
one
mean,
that
Beloved's like a ghost story, really.
I thought somewhere we had lesbians. Is Beloved lesbians?
I don't remember. That's what I need to read it again. But I don't remember there being lesbians. But
I feel like there is one that has lesbians, and I could be wrong about it
yeah,
being Beloved. But um, uh,
The Catcher in the Rye, J.D.
of course
Salinger.
that's on there. I just hate that
Mm-hmm.
book, so I don't
Yeah.
care. Ban it. I hate that book.
And I think we know why. I think we know why The Color Purple is on there,
Mm-hmm.
which I recently bought this year and can't wait to read. So I'm
The
excited about that.
Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. That book is phenomenal, and I listened to it, and it's even better for me in as an audiobook. It was perfection because it read like almost how my brain races, but I don't have. I mean, I guess I'm not gonna say I don't have autism because I feel like most of us are somewhere on a spectrum, but I don't have autism like the main character, but the way his brain races and the way that this perfectly captures this, like the way that his mind goes and thinks,
Yeah.
and the way it is beautifully done narrative, and the audiobook pairs with it just perfectly. It's so good.
Wow.
Um,
Okay.
The Bible, of course.
Right. This book is
Book
gay.
is gay. No shit, that's on here. Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. I'm surprised that's on here. I have that upstairs. I had 2 copies of it because I bought a second copy because I didn't know I still had the copy I had.
I know why Gossip Girl's on there.
Why is Gossip Girl on there?
You know, when Gossip Girl came out, a lot of parents were up in just arms about, these
all the the drugs,
rich kids, and they're doing so many adult things, and they're frivolous with money, and they're just basically doing so many grown things in their children.
Welcome to New York City. So Cecily von Zeigsar is the childhood best friend of one of my former bosses. So she's actually really nice.
That's hilarious.
I don't know why I said actually, like she was gonna be a bitch or something. We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
Why does PC Cast sound familiar?
That's what I was just looking at. I know. I've seen it in the thrift store. I've seen that author in the thrift store. And I was like, why does that feel familiar? Okay. I have not read the books, but I've seen that author.
A series of adult vampire-themed fantasy novels.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming that there's violence and sex.
Well, of course, it's vampires, so
therefore it is bad. Well, where's Twilight? Is Twilight on here? Anyway, my mom's having a baby.
House of the Spirits by Isabel Allende. Huh. I've only read one of her books, so
I'm stuck at 62 with Anne Frank.
Oh my god. Yeah, I don't even know.
Is Dreaming in Cuban because it's about Cuba?
Probably. Probably.
I hate our country sometimes.
Oh, I remember when that book came out, Go the Fuck to Sleep.
Let us go the fuck to sleep. That is the best title of a book. Is it a children's book for
I think it was
parents?
about just a parent trying to get his kid to sleep. Something, go the fuck to sleep. I remember when it came out. And I was like, wow, that's the actual title. Wow.
That's fantastic. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to get a sense of humor. I'm back to 71 now with House of Spirits. I
don't know.
I mean, I think we should buy it.
I mean, at some point, I think we're going to get through her entire catalog.
I pulled out all my Gabriel Garcia Marquez's, and we should probably read those.
Well, let's start with the cholera, because I have that one.
Sure. Let's start with cholera. Always start with cholera.
Yeah. I mean, I think we know on this list. Monster. Is that the one that was adapted into the movie with Charlize Theron?
Yeah.
Fantastic
Yes.
story. It's a
Yes.
great story.
Oh, Saga. Yeah, of course, Saga's in
That's
it.
what you guys read, right? That, yeah.
Yeah, I still haven't finished it, but because it's just so heavy. It's
Man parts everywhere.
oh
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, but I'm an adult, so here's the thing: like, I'm an almost 40-year-old adult. Like,
Right.
if I want to read about alien porn in graphic novel form,
Right.
I'm allowed to. Go fuck
Yeah.
yourself. Like, go away.
Exactly. 1984?
1984. Well, that's a book that I feel like gets misrepresented a lot.
Yeah, we've had conversations about that. Yeah.
I read A Clockwork Orange. No, I used to have A Clockwork Orange. Why do I not have that anymore? I wonder where that went. Almost Perfect. Isn't that movie that was about? Wasn't like the lady who does the leggings in that Kate Hudson?
Oh, I don't know.
Wasn't Almost Perfect? It was like about a band in like the 70s or something like that.
No, Almost Famous,
Oh, that's almost.
which is one of my favorite movies. I will watch Almost Famous whenever it's on.
Almost
Fantastic
Perfect.
movie. And there's our Ellen Hopkins again. She's on here a couple more times with Burned and Glass.
I can't believe 82 is still on here. Awakening Kate Chopin. That is about suicide, a woman taking her life. But like, how is that like that book is so old. Like it's not how is I just feel like it doesn't have the same impact that it did when it was published. So like why are you still upset about it?
It's incredible. I know why the Cage Bird sings by Maya Angelou. She's another one. I need to get her. I've never read anything by Maya Angelou.
I've read
one
I
day
Know
I
Why
will.
the Cage Bird Sings.
I have not. Nothing.
But I haven't read anything else that I can recall. Ellen Hopkins is on here a lot, huh?
I told you what the series is about. I mean, it's hard, dark stuff.
She's out here like, I'm just gonna get banned left and right. Fuck these
Yeah,
people.
It's hard, dark stuff.
Remember the last episode where I did an F-bomb every 2 seconds? Here we are.
The Walking Dead is on here?
Well, I mean, are you shocked by that one? Gosh, she's here
I mean, I
again.
kind of am. It's zombies don't exist. Why are we banning that?
I don't know.
Or why are we challenging that? That's
Uncle
insane.
Bobby's wedding has to be a gay wedding.
Maybe,
right?
yeah.
That's got to be the only way that you could be banning this nonsense.
Right.
Not that the
so basically, Ellen Hopkins' whole thing is on here. All the books.
My uncle's
number 98, Tricks.
Yeah, she's got a ton on here. I feel like we just need to read her just for that.
I mean, I've read a lot of this stuff because my daughter read it.
Yeah. Or I need to read it just for that.
She really loves them.
Gay
wow,
literature.
that was a very interesting list. I mean, we didn't run through the entire list, guys, but
because we realized that we were going to be very long-winded.
Yeah, a good number of these. But we'll link this list in the show notes so you can check it out yourself. And this is the top 100 most banned and challenged books from 2010 to 2019.
Well, the takeaway that I'm getting from this is that the people who challenge and try to ban books don't like homosexuality or queerness in general. Number one. That seems to be number one.
Correct.
They do not.
No, number one is they don't like sex.
Yes. 1A is homosexuality.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Number two is like suicide or mental health thing.
Yes.
Anything about self-harm, mental health issues, we don't like that. We're not here for that. And then all of your normal things, sex, violence, drugs.
Exactly.
Falls in somewhere underneath all of that.
Yes.
Basically, don't have sex, don't be queer, and, have a perfectly normal brain, and you'll be fine.
Oh, and don't be a person of color looking to get some insight into your history. That's an absolute no-no.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's an absolute no-no.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to know.
Because we're not allowed to know.
It teaches us to be racist. Don't you know that, Naomi?
That's right. That's what they say. We can't have that.
Just like reading gay books teaches you to be gay.
Right. Gosh.
If you're the kind of person that doesn't understand sarcasm, that was sarcasm. I understand that some people don't get it. So.
Right.
But
it's such a shame.
I'd punctuate that here. So.
It's such a shame.
Oh my god.
You know what?
It drives me crazy because like, I'm not even going down that road. We'll be here for another 2 hours. Ooh, R. Kelly was convicted of racketeering conspiracy at his federal trial in New York.
Yeah, I saw that come across my my phone on my laptop earlier.
Oh, R. Kelly.
You know, this was an interesting conversation, but yeah. I'd be curious to know if there's anyone listening who's ever challenged a book.
I don't even.
And if so, what was the book and why did you challenge it?
How do you even challenge a book?
I think so let's say it's for a school. You would you would probably either go directly to the school board or the principal.
Oh, see, I don't have children, so I forget about things like school boards.
Yeah. So that's probably how you would do it if it was for school. Now, if it was just you didn't want it in your local library, you would just probably contact the library itself. If that didn't work, maybe you'd hit up your county council, you
We're not
know?
trying to give you instructions to ban books, folks, so don't do that.
Yeah. So I think that would probably be what they would do.
Do you know
But
what a lot of people do? And apparently, it's I've seen it in like different like random things on social media. Um, I thought it was kind of a joke, but apparently, according to booksellers and librarians, it's something that really happens. People turn around books that they find offensive in some way,
oh, so that the spine isn't shown?
or the front isn't shown, or whatever it is.
Really?
Yeah. So
Oh,
there are
that's
people,
interesting.
because I'll see it like people will do like a funny to me reel of like a Rachel Hollis book, and they like, flip it over and like,
Oh, that's funny.
and that's funny to me. But like apparently it's like an actual thing. Like people will flip over. So like librarians at the end of the night or store people at the end of the night, they'll find certain books flipped over.
It's like you really don't
That's
want people
that's
reading this
the
book, huh?
silent protest, I guess.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I find that to be really funny.
Thought that was an interesting.
But you know why it's funny? It's because you can't do this every day.
No.
Someone's going to find the book anyway and read it.
You know what? It's fun. No, the other funny part of that is that it just calls attention to the book.
That too.
So it's
That
the only
too.
one that's not facing forward. Ooh, I wonder what this is.
Exactly. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So hopefully
Anyway,
this was a good discussion.
yeah. Let
I
us know in the comments on the blog, tbrlowdown.com. Let us know what you think about banned books. What are your thoughts on it? Have you ever experienced either being at school yourself or at your local library, or if you have kids at your kids' school, with dealing with the issue of having books banned?
or if
Let
you're
us
a
know if you've
teacher.
experienced that. Yes.
Yeah. Teachers, tell us your experiences with school boards. We would love.
Yes.
We are so curious about how
So
the school
curious.
system works and how
Mm-hmm.
our children, their educations are like crafted. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have kids, and I didn't go to public school, so I don't have any reference. And your kids are older now, right? So, though I
Yeah.
guess
And
with Caleb, but Caleb goes to a private institution, doesn't he?
yeah. Yeah. He goes to private school, but you can ban books at private schools too.
Oh
Same
yeah.
thing.
Oh yeah. But the
But
public institution is just a larger.
right.
You
That's
hit a
that's
larger group, so it has a little bit more impact, I think.
that is very true because I feel like so my grandson goes to private Catholic school, and even like friends in our friend group that went to Catholic school, and they talk about how rigid and stuff it was. It's like that has not been our experience.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe it depends on, maybe it's the time, like this is a different time. Maybe it's the location, but like the principal at his school is really progressive leaning, and it's just not as rigid as our friends' experiences have been attending private Catholic schools. So I find that ought to be interesting too.
Yeah, I always thought Catholic school was really rigid, and
Yeah.
I didn't go to Catholic school, but that was always my understanding of it growing up, was that the kids who went to Catholic school, the schools were really rigid, and like I
I mean,
know.
don't get me wrong.
I don't know
There's
what the hell my
rules.
school was.
You know what I mean?
And
There's
then
like
there was
rules.
public school.
Yeah, there's rules that aren't in public schools, but like I still feel like those kids have like a lot of freedom in what they're learning, and I know the school accepting.
Yeah, which is great,
So, right, and
especially
so
in a
that's
parochial
not rigid.
institution. Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So, but yeah, let us know in the comments. We would love to know.
Yes, we are always eager to talk to teachers
Always,
and librarians.
always, always. Yeah.
Back in
All
my
right.
head.
I enjoyed this conversation.
Me too.
Yeah.
I enjoyed
So,
this.
yes.
But we need to go because I need to go to the bathroom.
Yes, indeed. Okay. Bye.
Bye.